What to do when you actually retire and realize you might not have enough money. Well, hey, this is Jeff at Below Average. Please like, subscribe, comment down below so we can see if we can get some kind of interaction going. This is a topic that I have talked with numerous individuals in my lifetime. And actually, nobody, once they retired, they seem to be silent on this, and you just see their reaction or what they physically do. But as a person like myself, late 50s, getting closer to retirement, these are some of the questions I have. What happens when you think you might have enough, or maybe you're forced to retire? And after a few years, you realize that maybe that wasn't quite the best move, and what do you do? Well, I'll give you at least a few examples. If you're in that situation now, or you're getting closer to retirement, and this is something that you're thinking about. Now, the one thing you have to get past first, though, is if you're not in retirement yet, and you're thinking about it, is the mindset of how much you need. So this one is, to me, is one of the easiest things to understand for yourself. This is different for everybody, but is what you need first. First and foremost, you need to have a budget in place. You have to have been accumulating these numbers. I'm going to say for at least or up to 1 year to be very accurate. You'll see all the nuance and the little nickel and dime stuff that ends up eating away, and you'll actually have a clear idea on what you will have to have in retirement. For instance, you go through your whole budget now, and at the end of every month, and you did it for 12 months, and I'm going to utilize myself approximately, might be targeting the close to $3,000 range. Still have a house. I don't have a car payment. This is food. This is down to everything from Christmas presents when you buy them, birthday presents, to just miscellaneous, to buying a few things here and there to try to fix up the house if you have to, which I have not in my budget in my early onset of doing this. This has been a wake-up call for myself. And I guarantee you, if it's a wake-up call for somebody like myself that is kind of like, I just work my way out of it, it will be a wake-up call for everybody. So please, first and foremost, a basic plan. Write it on paper, put it on the computer. Don't have to be fancy about it, but keep track of every dollar you spend to end up seeing where you're at. And this is the first and foremost, the basis of what you have to look at for retirement. Now, for individuals who are already retired, and I'm going to assume maybe a possible and somewhat early retirement, and you don't have loads of money, it happened because of maybe physically you had troubles being able to do the job you were doing, or your place shut down, kind of forced you almost into that, and you liked having the time off and you took it, and now a couple years later you're starting to rethink stuff. Pretty tough to do once you've been out, but you're going to have to force yourself to look for some form of part-time job if you are capable of working. But you don't want to go back to work full-time. Very understandable. You did it your whole life. You've already given your whole life away to numerous companies in order to get to where you're at now. But if you are seriously, when you do your budget and you're behind a few hundred, or even if you're just barely making it and you're concerned about future expenses, a small part-time job might be something you don't want to do, but you got many avenues. You don't have to think about going to the local grocery store, to Walmart or whatever, and being a greeter, and no one wants to do the greeting, all these type of things. There's other avenues to look at. For one, find your local, like Manpower or whatever they're called nowadays. I hate those places in theory, but go there. Give them an idea of your scenario. They might be able to have something part-time, or they might have somebody, which for a very short term you could look at doing, as far as that they need somebody for 8 hours a day, but they're not looking to hire anybody. It might be a little more seasonal, or they might just need a little push, and you might be able to say, hey, I can do 8 hours a day for 40 hours. If it's only going to be for a handful of weeks, and then I can stop doing that and start looking for something really more part-time. This would be a way for you yourself to be able to get by, something simple, easy, and you can obviously turn it down. You can actually go, and if you don't like it after a few days, tell them, I ain't doing it again. Or part-time, the one thing that's everywhere, is look up your local cleaning companies. These companies are constantly always needing and hiring people, because they don't want 40-hour week people. They don't want to pay the benefits. The profit margin's not that high for these companies to be able to do that. This way you'll be able to probably get a handful of 4-hour shifts maybe in a week. Now you might have to, help out on different times, and maybe they'll need you for something else, and you can bargain for a different day off or whatever. But I think really that would be a basic structure. And as long as you physically can walk and move, you don't have to be fast, you don't have to be perfect at it. These people are looking for warm bodies who at least will come in and do some caring on taking care of the cleaning process. Now, this might be more like evening, weekends, or afternoons, or some night stuff that you'll have to probably adjust to. But I think you can do it. You can do that if you're just really needing 10, 12 hours a week for the pay scale that's in your area. I think that is probably going to be one of the easier things to do if you're just looking to go get a job. Now, the one thing I would recommend is you get into reselling. Yep. eBay, Poshmark, blow off Amazon probably if you're doing it small part-time, be a big pain in the butt. Mercari, you got all these online things you can end up doing. And if you're really only looking at, say, I want an extra 100 or 200 a month, if that's all you're looking at, that's a perfect place to start. Everything around your house, you can end up doing it. Pretty simple. Most individuals now use their phone or use a computer, and they bought online. They're a little more comfortable with it. I would think vast majority of people would have no problem being able to get onto eBay and create an account. You could even call them, and I guarantee you they'll walk you right through it. Not too hard at all anymore. I think it's very possible for people. But those scenarios are simple if it's a low number that you're looking for. You're missing a few $100s a month. The one thing I have, because I have quit my job quite a few years ago, the one thing I do miss a little bit is being a little physical, being able to want to go out, put things together, do some things, move around a little bit more. I do not do that now. Most of my stuff is, a lot of waiting, purchasing stuff, picture taking, reselling, packing up, boxing, all this kind of stuff. A little more, thinking involved. And that's probably a good thing long term, because your physical body will wear out more than likely well before your mind does. So the fact that you can do something where you're thinking a little bit more, where you don't need to be real physical, it's perfect for what I'm doing. But I do miss a little of the other stuff. And maybe someday I think I probably will return to something small like that for the extra money that my family might be needing or just looking at. So these are some quick examples. These are pretty simple. Most people would think about them, pretty hard to implement after the fact. I would think if you're really close to retiring, or you're going to retire, the one thing that might be easier to do is to try to transition in from just retiring from 40 plus hours of work, and maybe after a few weeks already have set up a real small part-time job just to stay in the rhythm of going out working for somebody else a few hours, whatever you're doing. And if you have a skill set or your trades, you definitely ought to be doing this. You can still make a ton of money on the side. And the big thing I personally think is you can help a lot of people by not screwing them over by asking a drastic price to do the labor, just because the local plumber who works for somebody is trying to charge $100 and something an hour. You can do an awful lot of work and help an awful lot of people for some cash for $25, $30, $35 an hour, $40, whatever, but a lot cheaper than the local place down the road that's going to really, jack the price up. So, like I said, before you're into retirement, before you get there, it's much easier to slide into the things. Start the eBay, start all this stuff part-time, not looking to make a living at it. You just want to get used to how you have to go through it because you're going to retire in 6 months, a year and a half, whatever. And I'm going to throw some things out there, see if I can make a couple $100 a month, and if that'll be enough to help, get me through whatever. Especially after you do your budget, and you will know where you are at. Now, in my case, and probably a lot of people, if they can really look at it ahead of time, I plan on working a lot longer in life before I draw Social Security because I'll need the income for that. Pretty much one income household my whole life. Wife hasn't hardly worked a whole lot at all. That I think this is probably the avenue, as long as I can physically still do what I'm doing, or if I have to ever go back to a regular job or a part-time or supplement or whatever, this is something I'll probably look at doing to help offset what my wife and I, what we'll need for retirement. But I already understand that plan a little bit because of my budget. The budget I've been keeping track, it hasn't been very long. Like I said, below average, that's the name of the channel. I have not spent time in my entire life really doing that. I had always a ballpark. I could throw you out numbers, but compiling it in month after month, about 5-6 months into it, I'm realizing that a lot of incidentals are out there, and we haven't experienced a lot of them yet. So that's my version. Budget first to know where you're at. Somebody like myself, I'm probably going to work a lot longer. And also, once I fully retire, dealing with Social Security, probably won't stop working. I'm pretty convinced I'm going to end up staying doing what I'm doing, if that's a part-time thing, or I'll rotate into something real part-time, don't have to worry about anything, just go to something 10-12 hours a week. And I'll be looking to try to probably get my wife into doing something along those lines too, just for the little added income, for the mobility. Walking, moving around, we can get pretty stagnant at what we do. Just like if you're working at a desk your entire day, you're young, you can get up and do it, but you throw 20-30 years on your body, and all of a sudden you start thinking, boy, I need to be moving around more. So this is some of the kind of concerns. I'd like to see if people will comment down below. What are they thinking? What's going on? I do know of an individual who got to retire real early in life, forced out from his job, but had the pension. It was a GM / type of pension from a couple different companies. Only stayed away for a year or so, got bored, went back into a very physical. He could end up wanting to stay busy, went back into work for a couple years and backed off, retired again for a year or so, and then went back in and actually worked almost 8, 9, 10 years. That's when I got to know him and work with him. And then he decided again, like by about, I think he was maybe 70 range or early 70s, decided, hey, he's finally done with it. Obviously, all kinds of money drawn, doing real well, no big deal. But then about 2-3 years into that, he went back to work for about another year just for something to do. So you got a lot of options out there if you're a little short on the money, or you think you will be, and you're physically capable of doing things. The hard thing is to start it after the fact. So start something up before you retire so you can feel more comfortable when you get there. And this will hopefully make you feel a little more comfortable once you get into retirement, when you're actually there, because you did your budget, you know where you're at, you can predict a lot of things that can happen, and the income you have coming in from your Social Security, 401k, hopefully you have something in there. If you don't, start investing something now. You really need to do that. You might have to work longer to get a higher Social Security check, like I will probably myself. And once you draw, you're still probably going to be doing some form of work for the money that could be needed, and staying mobile. And anything you can get into where you can think about, using your mind. Remember, it lasts longer than your body. So, hey, please like, subscribe, comment down below. I appreciate anything. If anybody can push this on to other people, I'm looking at some ideas, some creativity, as my generation is entering into retirement soon, and will more than likely always be looking to be willing to do a little bit more, do a little extra, because some of the money isn't there like it maybe have been in other previous generations that had full-blown retirement plans, pensions, and insurance, and all this kind of stuff. So please like, subscribe, comment down below, and hey, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and thank you. Bye.